You know, your team appears to be one of the first teams in a high-profile case that seem to be leaning into the YouTube creators and granting interviews to channels that aren't mainstream press. First, I want to thank you because that's huge. But secondly, we watched Court TV and Law and Crime be hostile to Johnny Depp and to Maya. Are the days of, do you think, Court TV and mainstream press dominating the conversation coming to an end? Is the veneer of the mainstream press finally fading?
Yes, and I think that people have wised up about where and how to get information. I think that the YouTube shows, because you have so much more freedom, are being sought out by people who need to know and want to know what's going on. I also believed I was very upset at another hospital who shall remain nameless, and as well as a paper that came out with the paper that came out with some points that the defense had obviously provided them with, which had absolutely nothing to do with the facts and nothing to do with what was going on. And it was a hit job. And I actually saw one of the reporters who I'd given an interview to several days before, and I said, "No, I do for you, and this is what happens." So I don't think it was the reporter. I think it was the editorial board. But my question is, what is that editorial board doing sending out a hit piece like that with such a tragic case? And I think that kind of reporting, it makes you question where, I want to say where their heart is at. That's not the right way to put it, but where their mind is at.
Well, the same day, Greg, the same day that there was the big IJ bomb in the courtroom, the very same day, Court TV decided that their article was going to be about Maya's homecoming dress and accusing her of lying about her illness because she managed to go out with some friends. That was their story, and they never did report on the IJ report, Greg. Not once. What kind of media coverage is that? It's outrageous.
Why? On one hand, you could look at it and say, well, they're just looking for a story, a controversy. But isn't this a big enough controversy, telling it straight?
Yes.
Do you have to create more controversy here and attack, a 17-year-old girl? Maya was attacked through this entire period of time. From the time she's 9 on, she has been under constant attack by media, by the hospital, by defense lawyers. When is this kid finally able to live a life? To the extent, with what's happened to her, she can. It is. Do you know that the defense insisted on an order such that Maya had to report to the defense lawyers every time she went to any kind of doctor or dental or any other appointment?
Ugh.
This kid could not even go and get her teeth cleaned without having to report it. Think about that.
And she couldn't seek any therapy because then they would just get the therapy notes. So nothing she said was private. Nothing she ever talked about stayed between her and her therapist. And then they had the nerve to say, well, they don't really have PTSD because they're not seeking out help. Well, you're stalking them. So how could they possibly seek out help?
Jackie Henschke is a brilliant pediatric psychiatrist and Stanford trained, and she had no dog in this hunt. I met her completely apart from any of this, and she had just heard about the case, and I asked her to give a hand, and she was nice enough to agree. But our whole idea here was a safe harbor, to give Maya a safe harbor where she could talk and perhaps start a little bit on the path back to a semi-normal life. And I said, this is all part of the record. I know, Megan, you probably know all this, but I announced Nothing that Maya says in here is going to be used. We agree that she will never be called as a witness. You know, Maya needs a safe harbor. Give this kid one place she can go to talk. And that, of course, lasted about as long as it took to get a hearing and a motion filed and a hearing. And the next thing you know, Jackie Henschke's involved in it. And then they had the gall to object once they forced to turn over all the records and started going after Dr. Henschke. Then they got really mad when I said, well, fine, Dr. Henschke's going to testify. You know,
That's
Dr.
sick.
Henschke had also documented what had happened to Maya that we talked about in the proffer. So be careful what you wish for, you will surely get it, right?
That's disgusting. The way the defense behaved is disgusting. And I don't mean to be crass, but we gave them a nickname here. We call them the Dick Defense. Because we hated the way that they behaved. They were horrible the whole time.